None of what they talked about and argued about was of any interest. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. It was like, did the producers tell y'all that y'all have to have like a cat fight every couple of episodes or something? Like, that's what it felt like. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl JD here, back with another video. So as promised, I am doing a quick response to what I saw over on, I believe, the Neighborhood Talk had posted about it, and it was about the show over on Netflix, Selling Sunset Tampa, getting canceled after just one season. So I'd actually posted this over on my community tab here on this channel, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna need to talk about this, you know, because in the Neighborhood Talks post, it was saying that the cast, you know, had basically said that it was because of racism, or maybe they had insinuated that it was because of racism. So I want to talk about that. I know it can be a very touchy subject, that R word. So I am going to try my best to, of course, give my true analysis of the situation and what I really actually think happened. When it comes to Selling Sunset in general, Selling Sunset had originally started with, I think, the Oppenheim group in California. They got, I think, maybe 3 or 4 seasons. At least I think it was like 4 seasons, 4 or 5. I don't know, but somewhere around that. Now, personally, I think it's okay. I don't think it's that interesting. However, I did do a quick rundown on, I think it was the latest season that they had put out, which I thought was a little bit more interesting than the past seasons. I thought that was probably the best season that they've had. The other seasons were really boring. I'm just gonna say that up front. I was like, I don't understand why this is still on the air. If it didn't have that latest season and I had to do a review of some kind just based on everything leading up to that season, I think it was the 5th, either 4th or 5th, I don't know. But if I had to do a review on it, I would tell you I'm not doing a review because it was boring as hell and there was nothing to talk about. I'm just gonna be honest. Even their fights were dumb. Their arguments were dumb. None of what they talked about and argued about was of any interest. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. It was like, did the producers tell y'all that y'all have to have like a cat fight every couple of episodes or something? Like, that's what it felt like, you know? But when it came to Selling Sunset Tampa, I have to be honest, it was a little bit. When I say a little bit, let me stress again, a little bit more interesting than the original Selling Sunset, okay? But I personally feel like it still wasn't enough. And hear me out when I say this. I'm going to give reasons why. It was not enough to actually stay on. Even though the whole premise in terms of Selling Sunset is basically them, they're realtors, or they're a part of the realtor space. I forgot the name of the group that they're a part of in terms of selling houses. But I just personally feel like they didn't really do too much of that, the whole selling houses thing. But then again, people could also argue that with Selling Sunset, the other one, they didn't really do much selling either. You know, like every now and again they would have one and then, you know, they would get their commission. But I personally feel like there wasn't really much of that going on in Selling Sunset Tampa. I think there was a lot of negotiations, a lot of like talking and showing of houses, but in terms of actually selling, I did not see too much of that. But of course, you guys can, you know, disagree with me, but that's just personally how I feel. It's been a minute since I've seen the show, but I don't remember there being that much selling going on. That's just me going off of my memory personally. But I think that when it comes to the whole like racism part of it, I don't think that was necessarily the case, because if I'm going to be honest, I don't really think the show did that well. No one really talked about it, even though Selling Sunset, the original, did kind of bore me to death a little bit, if I'm going to be honest, except for that last season. There were more people talking about that show than this one, Tampa. even when it came to black people. Like, it just did not seem like anyone gave two craps. I'm just gonna be honest. The Shade Room, Spiritual Word, the Neighborhood Talk, it's just, it didn't seem like anybody was talking about this show. You know, it's just like, you know how when it comes to, for example, like Real Housewives, would have so many like memeable moments that people would be talking about on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and be making videos on videos about it. But I personally feel like nobody really talked about this show. Nobody cared. I'm just going to be honest with this one. I honestly feel as though, you know, when it comes to certain shows, obviously sometimes, okay, I think the R word does play a part in why it could have been canceled. However, I honest to God do not feel like it was what happened here. Can't take it back because my soul wouldn't allow me to. I would be unsettled. My spirit would be unsettled if I would sit up here and lie to you guys and be like, yeah, it was racism. No, that show was boring as hell. I'm sorry. And nobody talked about it. Nobody said anything. It was not that great of a show. And even when they would have like occasional like back and forths and fights and stuff, it was like, it was kind of stupid. I'm just gonna be honest. That's just how I feel about the whole situation. Y'all could come for me in the comments, but I just personally feel like it was not that great of a show. Honestly, I feel like Selling Sunset, the other one, needs to get canceled too. Even though that latest season was probably the most interesting out of all the seasons, I don't think it's enough to keep it on Netflix. But I know they're probably gonna make another season. But yeah, it was boring as hell. Both of them were really boring to me. But I think it's because when it comes to the whole real estate thing, obviously you want to try and keep it as professional as possible because you still have to be regarded as a professional to sell houses. So they don't want to make it too catty. I get that, you know, there needs to be some type of restraint, you know, but I personally still feel like there could have been a lot more like an entertainment factor. It just wasn't there for me. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, y'all. You could come for me in the comments, but that's just personally how I felt. It was just not that interesting. Okay, but I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.